It was a quiet Sunday morning in Maplewood Heights. Ethan Brooks had just poured a fresh cup of coffee and settled into his favorite chair, ready to check emails and maybe watch a nature show. Birds sang outside, and his Wi-Fi was working perfectly. But the calm broke with a loud banging on his front door. Ethan sighed. "Too early for this," he muttered. He opened the door to find Linda Harper, the neighborhood busybody, standing there in workout clothes. Her eyes blazed, and she waved a tablet like it was evidence in a crime. "Why can't I connect to your Wi-Fi?" she shouted. "My online store's dashboard won't load." Ethan blinked, half amused. "I changed the password," he said, sipping his coffee. "Didn't know you were using it." Linda's jaw dropped. "You changed it without telling me?" she said, as if he'd cut off the town's power. "My business needs that internet." "So does mine," Ethan replied. "It's my Wi-Fi. I never shared the password." Linda scoffed. "My phone's been connecting for months." "That's permission." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "That's not how Wi-Fi works." She crossed her arms. "You read WHOA selfish. I'm telling the HOA. This is sabotage." Ethan stepped back and closed the door, chuckling. If Linda wanted internet, she could pay for her own. He returned to his coffee, but the weirdness wasn't over. Out the window, he spotted a plain white van parked across the street. It wasn't there yesterday, no logos, tinted windows, just sitting there, facing his house. Suspicious, he snapped a photo of the license plate. It was local. No one moved inside. Trying to shrug it off, Ethan checked his laptop. A new email from the Maplewood Heights HOA popped up. "Dear Ethan, we've received a complaint about unfair bandwidth access and are investigating the disruption of shared neighborhood internet." Ethan stared. Shared internet? He paid for his own router. The complaint was from Linda. He laughed. This was ridiculous. Instead of replying, he ran a network scan. To his shock, several devices from nearby homes were trying to reconnect to his Wi-Fi. At least 3 belonged to neighbors. They'd been freeloading. Outside, Linda paced the street, yelling into her phone and pointing at the van. Her gestures looked staged, like she wanted attention. Then a drone buzzed over his backyard, hovering near his upstairs window, turned as if watching him. Ethan filmed it, then flipped on his signal jammer. The drone wobbled and crashed onto his lawn. Minutes later, Linda was back, red-faced. "You broke my drone." "I didn't touch it," Ethan said, showing his phone. "But I recorded it trespassing." "Want to call the police, or should I?" Linda glanced at the van, then hissed. "You're making enemies, Ethan. The HOA doesn't like troublemakers." "And I don't like spies," he said, closing the door. His chuckle faded fast. Something felt wrong, the van, the HOA's email, the drone. He scanned his network again. Strange devices, repeated login attempts. Someone was hacking him, and they were good. Ethan opened a hidden folder called Trace Logs. This wasn't his first rodeo. If they wanted a tech fight, they'd picked the wrong guy. By morning, he'd set up a fake Wi-Fi network called FreeWi for Linda. Devices connected instantly, including Linda's phone, which tried 5 times. But 2 others surprised him. One from Greg Turner, the HOA president, and another from a board member across the street. This wasn't just Linda, it was a team effort. Digging into his logs, Ethan found they weren't just stealing his Wi-Fi. They were using it to hide shady activities, remote logins, masked websites. If he hadn't caught it, he'd have been blamed. Then Linda made a mistake. During another rant at his door, waving her tablet and a flash drive, she dropped the drive between his porch boards. Ethan waited until she left, then pried it out. In a secure setup, he opened the drive. It held hours of surveillance videos, many aimed at his house, some from the drone, others from hidden cameras along his property. There were folders for other neighbors, too. One, labeled Judge Wilson, had Linda's voice. "He stops at the liquor store sometimes. The HOA should note that for property reviews." Another, city planner files, showed zoomed-in shots of documents through a window. Linda was running a spying operation. The worst was a video of Linda at an HOA meeting, saying, "1 violation from Ethan, and we can force him out." His kind doesn't belong near the clubhouse. The racism and harassment were clear. Ethan backed up the files to a safe, a cloud server, and his friend Claire Evans' encrypted legal server. Claire, a civil rights lawyer, was stunned. She used your Wi-Fi and property for a surveillance ring. That's trespassing, wiretapping, and fraud. They built a 3-minute expose video how my HOA tried to frame me using my Wi-Fi with logs, emails, Linda's social media, and her own words. Ethan posted it at 8 a.m. By 9, it had 30,000 views. By noon, reporters called. Linda posted in the HOA's group, claiming Ethan hacked the community. But the evidence was too strong. At 3 p.m., police knocked. "We're investigating illegal surveillance on your property," an officer said. Ethan handed over a drive. "Check this." An hour later, they arrested Linda, seizing her laptop, drives, and a buried server box. But Ethan sensed a bigger player. A cryptic email arrived. "You won this round. Watch your back." No sender, no trace. He forwarded it to Claire and his cybersecurity contact, then locked his house tight. The next day, at the Richmond County Records Office, he found a bombshell. His property wasn't under HOA control. It sat just outside their legal boundary. His deed had no HOA mention, but a forged signature, notarized by Linda's cousin, claimed he'd joined 2 years ago. Claire was livid. "They forged documents and fined you illegally. That's criminal fraud." Ethan dug deeper, finding Linda's payments for HOA fines went to her personal account and a company owned by Greg. They'd been profiting off fake violations. Claire contacted a national news outlet, and Ethan rallied neighbors. Many, like an elderly couple, shared their own fake fine notices, terrified of eviction. A local news segment, HOA accused of fraud scheme, aired, showing Linda in cuffs and revealing Ethan's property was exempt. The Richmond County launched audits, and federal agents investigated. A new email arrived with a Phase 2.mp4 file. Night vision footage of someone planting a device under Ethan's deck, timestamped days ago. He found a microdrive there, holding emails between Linda, Greg, and Victor Lang, a real estate investor flipping homes after HOA harassment. One email read, "Ethan's place was supposed to be easy. He's too smart." Ethan and Claire built a legal case. Digital intrusion, trespassing, fraud, and discrimination. They found other residents had been fined for absurd things, like wrong mailbox color. A new video, "My HOA tried to erase me," went viral, showing the drone, Linda's footage, and Greg's logs. By evening, 3 HOA board members resigned, and audits were ordered. Police returned, saying, "Linda had help. Your footage named board members." Ethan installed AI-powered security and a sign, "Unauthorized access reported to authorities." A final email arrived, "Nice work. Phase 3 is yours." It listed 6 HOA leaders statewide, linked to similar scams. Ethan realized this was a network of corrupt HOAs, profiting from harassment and property flips. Claire and Ethan wrote a national expose, HOAs, the hidden machine behind evictions, naming culprits and urging action. Published on a major outlet's front page, it sparked lawsuits, whistleblowers, and new laws. Ethan launched a podcast, The Firewall, sharing his story and others. It became a hit. Linda and Greg faced fraud, wiretapping, and discrimination charges, pleading for deals. Victor Lang's firm collapsed under scrutiny. Maplewood Heights suspended its HOA, hiring a neutral manager. Ethan's home became a hub for neighbors, who brought evidence and apologies. A new family moved into Linda's foreclosed house, and Ethan helped set up their router, laughing. One evening, Ethan stood on his porch, feeling peace. His phone buzzed with a final message. Phase 3 done. Ready for Phase 4? Attached was HOA_national_strategy.pdf. Ethan smiled, archived it, and locked his door. He'd won this fight, exposed a corrupt system, and empowered others. The war was over for now. Maplewood Heights became a model for fair neighborhoods. Ethan's podcast grew, inspiring reforms. If you face HOA abuse, document everything, find allies, and stand firm. Ethan's story proves one person can topple a corrupt system, turning a quiet street into a beacon of justice.